Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. Please make yourselves comfortable. Eat. Good morning, Philip. Good to see you.
Good morning.
We got a new outdoor location here. Enjoying Hashem's nature, Hashem's beauty. So this week's Parsha is Miketz. We're going to be discussing what it means to master Bitachon. And of course, we have Yosef over here as our prototype, who we're going to be learning from. And we have in Bereshis, in Parshas Miketz, Perek Mem Aleph, Pasuk Tes Vav. Source number 1, Vayomer Paro Yosef. Paro comes and he tells Yosef, right? So Yosef was languishing in jail for 2 years. He's pretty much lost all hope. He got framed for doing the right thing, right? He ran away from Eshes Potiphar. End of last week's Parsha. Everything ends on a dismal level. Yosef is hopeless. He's left there. The one person who he put his trust in, forgot about him, right? The Sar Hamashkim who was supposed to remember him, he told him twice, remember me. Sar Hamashkim forgets about him. He's all but forgotten, left in jail in Mitzrayim. I'm sure the conditions there weren't too good. I doubt they had any kind of rights or freedoms or space or sanitary, any kind of sanitary health over there. So Yosef's all but left, all but forgotten, in jail. And then this week's Parsha, everything takes a turn, right? And anybody who's had big success in life, right, be it Jewish leadership or business success, all the Jeff Bezos and Oprah Winfrey's and all the big successful people out in the world, and both lahavdil in our own world as well, they've all had a roller coaster, right? There's always been huge ups, huge downs when they thought nothing would work. And then, eventually they found some kind of success and something, took on, and they were able to succeed. Yosef was also, he had his lows, and he only got to become the second most successful, the second most powerful person in Mitzrayim from the lows that he faced, right? He faced the ultimate lows, his own brothers selling him into slavery, languishing in prison, being after the worst of the worst. Of almost being killed by his brothers, then being sold into slavery, and then finally rising to the top, and then a huge another fall, right? Because he gets framed by Eshes Potiphar, and now he's back in jail, all but forgotten. That's this week's Parsha. And finally, he has another chance to rise to the top. And Vayomer Paro Yosef, Paro tells Yosef, Chalom chalamtu poser einoso, that I dreamt a dream. I have no interpretation for it. Vani shamati alecha leimor tishma chalom lifter oso, and I heard about you that you're the man with the answers. Vayan Yosef answers and he says, Vayan es Paro leimor bil adai, it's not me. There's nothing of my own that I can offer you. Elokim yana es shalom Paro. It's Hashem who can answer the dreams of Paro. Right? So you could just imagine the scene. This is Yosef's one chance, right? After 2 years of being in prison, this is literally his one glimpse at any kind of light at the end of his tunnel. If he doesn't nail this business proposal, right? If he doesn't get this interview and get the job, then he's going to be left in prison maybe for the rest of his life. And he might die in prison, be left there, all but forgotten. This is his one chance at any kind of success in life, let alone making his dreams a reality, and bringing the brothers to bow down to him. This is his one chance. And what's his answer? What's his response to Paro? Instead of saying, oh yeah, you definitely need me, I'm the man for the job, I'm Mr. Smarts here, look at all my degrees, look at all my credentials. No. Yosef says, Biladai, it's not me. Says Rashi in source number 2, Ein hachachma mishali, the wisdom is not my own. Elokim yana, it's only Hashem who can answer your dreams. Yitain ania befi, he's the one who's going to give the answers in my mouth. Lishlom Paro, for the good of Paro. So Yosef, after all this, right, he's one chance. He's willing to give it all up, give it all away. He says, I'm not fit for the job. It's not me. I have no wisdom of my own. It's only Hashem who can answer Paro's dreams. Says the Medrash Rabbah, from here, in source number 3, Ashrei HaGever Asher Sam Hashem Iftachai, David HaMelech says in Tehillim, blessed is the man who puts his trust in Hashem. Zeh Yosef. This is referring to Yosef. We see that Yosef was willing to put his trust in Hashem and say, it's all Hashem. There's nothing of my own, despite he wanted to feel needed by Paro. He wants Paro to recognize that he's the man for the job, that that he has the experience and the wisdom and the necessary to run the country. But no, he says, Biladai, it's not me, it's all Hashem. Elokim Yaneh Shalom Paro. Hashem is the one who's going to answer the dreams of Paro. And the Vilna Gaon says that there are 3 different levels when it comes to bitachon. Let's see over here, source number 4. Vani b'chastecha batachti. David HaMelech says, I put my trust in the chesed of Hashem. Then he says, Yagel libi bishuasecha, right? My heart will rejoice through your salvation, when there's hope for salvation. And then it's Ashira la Hashem ki gamal alai, and I'm going to sing to Hashem, for he has done kindness to me. So says the Vilna Gaon, and explaining this pasuk, Vani b'chastecha v'tachti yagel libi bishuasecha ashira la Hashem ki gamal alai. There's 3 parts to this pasuk. So says the Vilna Gaon, shleimus habitachon, the completion of bitachon, hu kasher yimatze b'shalosh zemanim elu, is when a person's found in these 3 situations. That everybody has these 3 situations in life, and mastering bitachon means recognizing Hashem and putting your trust in Hashem in all 3 of these different scenarios. 1 is Aleph, kasher hu be'es sara elav yisa nafsho, when a person is in a time of stress, to look and put his trust in Hashem, right? So that's when things aren't going well, when you're going through a difficult challenge, when there's a difficult health crisis, or a relationship or family crisis, or something difficult is going on. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It all seems hopeless and lost. So then, putting your trust in Hashem, that's one level of bitachon. But that, says the Vilna Gaon, is the lowest level of bitachon, right? When things are going wrong and you're putting your trust in Hashem, that's the lowest level, because that's the easiest, because you have no other hope otherwise, right? You're going through a challenge, you don't see the solution, it's not clear to you. So putting your trust in Hashem in that scenario, yes, it's a level of bitachon, but it's not the ultimate level of bitachon. Then he says, Beis kasher yavalo ha-yeshua, lo yivakesh yeshua mibnei adam rak me'es Hashem. The second level is when you already see the solution, right? You see, okay, this is what I have to do. This can get me my financial success. If I head down this career path, if I go to this doctor, he might be able to help me. When a person sees some kind of solution to the challenge that he's in, but nevertheless, he doesn't ask Yeshua, he only asks Hashem for help, right? He goes to the doctor, but he's ultimately asking Hashem, you are the one who's going to heal me, please heal me. And you're not asking people to help you, you're asking Hashem to help you, you're putting your main focus and trust in Hashem. So that's the second level of bitachon, where you already see some kind of solution, there's hope on the horizon somewhere, but nevertheless, you're saying, Hashem, you're ultimately the one who's going to take care of me. You're ultimately the one who's going to bring me that success or that relief to my challenge. And then says the Vilna Gaon that there's a third level as well. Kasher Yoshia lo Hashem bayom ahu, when Hashem actually does go ahead and He does save you and He does heal you and He does take you out of that financial crisis or health crisis or whatever situation you're going through or difficulty that you're going through. Bayom ahu yashav la Hashem. On that day, you go back and you say, Hashem, thank you so much. You don't forget about Hashem once everything's going good and smooth again. No. You still continue to put your trust in Hashem even when everything plateaus and everything's smooth and you reach baseline again. And you don't forget then the bitachon, the trust that you have with your complete heart. And therefore, says the Vilna Gaon, that's why David HaMelech is saying, I trust in the chesed of Hashem, meaning David HaMelech was going through a difficulty. People were chasing after him. They wanted to kill him. Shalom Melech and Avshalom. And he's saying, in my Yom Tsar, in Hashem's chesed, I trusted. Velo bizulaso, nobody else right? So even when I'm going through the challenge, I'm trusting in Hashem. Gam b'yom Yeshuasi, also the day of my salvation, where I already see hope on the horizon. I see the solution to the difficulty that I'm going through. Yagel libi b'Yeshuasecha, my heart is going to be uplifted only in your Yeshua, meaning Hashem, you're ultimately the one who's going to bring the Yeshua. Ki lo bikashti mizulaso. I'm not asking anybody else to save me, right? Nobody else can help me except for Hashem, having that complete trust in Hashem. And then Ashira la Hashem, kasher toshia li, zeroa v'yarom yamini, Ashira lo ki gama lalai. And then once Hashem already does save me, that salvation has already happened. Hashem already took me out of this difficult challenge. Still, Ashira la Hashem, it's Hashem who I'm going to sing to, ki gama lalai, because He was the one who did the kindness for me. It wasn't that person or anybody else who ultimately brought me the Yeshua, who ultimately took me out of the challenge. It was ultimately Hashem who took me out of the challenge. So that, says the Vilna Gaon, are the three levels of bitachon that a person needs to have complete bitachon, that it's in all three scenarios, and those are the levels of bitachon that a person can exemplify. The Sifsei Chaim says that Yosef showed that he mastered this second level of bitachon. He basically showed that he mastered all three throughout his lifetime. But by saying biladai, what Yosef was saying was that it's not me, Hashem is the one who can answer me. He was showing in action this second level of bitachon, that despite the salvation being on the horizon, right? Paro was able to take him out of all the pain and misery and difficulty that he was going through and can bring him success. He said, no, it's not Paro that's going to bring me success. It's Hashem who's going to bring success. And therefore he was clear and upfront. It's not me. The skills aren't in my hands. It's all Hashem that can help me. By doing that, he was showing in action and exemplifying what it means, that second level of bitachon, that despite seeing the person who can help you out of your current situation, putting your full, complete trust in Hashem, that it's only Hashem who's going to take you out, and the person in front of you is only the means of ishtadlus that you need to do to get there. Says the Sifsei Chaim, Netzinu l'meidim as godel, in source number 5, Netzinu l'meidim as godel mailas habitachon shel Yosef. We see the amazing level of the bitachon of Yosef. Shel rega l'ratza sheyachshavu v'yachsu mashahu min pisron hachalom lechachmaso. Because at this moment, he didn't want that Paro should think that the wisdom and the interpretation was coming from out of his own wisdom, out of his own adeptness and intelligence. No. Nosef lakach gam ratza lahachtir be'atzmar eschizak habitachon she'ein zeh michachmaso. Yosef wanted to express his level of bitachon and to implement into himself how much he believed that it was all coming from Hashem and not out of his own smarts and out of his own wisdom and intelligence. It wasn't from his chachma Elokim Yana Shalom Paro. It's Hashem who's going to answer the dreams of Paro. Roim bazeh yesod b'maylas habitachon. We see from here an amazing yesod when it comes to levels of bitachon. Shelo rak zeh shenimtza betzara v'lo yodea ma'ayin tava ha'yeshua hu tzarich liftoch b'Hashem. It's not just a person who's in a state of hopelessness, wondering how he's going to get out of a certain situation in life. Not just that person who needs to trust in Hashem sheyazrenu, ala afilu zeh shenoshad gam tzarich liftoch b'Hashem u'ledash hakol mimenu yispara. Even. What's that?
You took a great risk.
Yeah, huge risk. Because
I could have said, if you're nothing,
yeah,
go.
Exactly. Like the person who comes, you're interviewing somebody for a job, right? You want him to be partner in your law firm, right? So if the person says, I'm not really that great, okay, you say, I don't want you for the job.
Someone who's teaching me.
Exactly. Somebody who believes in himself, somebody who shows, look at my credentials, all these places that I've serviced and done all these internships, and right, you always try fluffing up your resume, right? You never try selling yourself short, and that's ultimately what Yosef was doing. He was selling himself short. He's saying, it's all Hashem. I don't actually have a great amount of wisdom. Not me. All Hashem. Huge risk that Yosef.
You've seen what happens to people who don't please Paro. So he's saying, don't blame me if it doesn't work. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
He doesn't really have all that much to gain at this stage.
Because he said it's going to happen. God's shown you it's going to happen.
Well,
he's telling him the future.
In a way,
he's telling him, but he doesn't know that yet.
In a way, it's higher risk though, because if it doesn't come through, then the power is going to be like, your God is false.
You're a charlatan.
Yeah, you're a fake believer.
And if he, say, I'm a great dream interpreter and I can do this, he'll be one of those people, if it works, he'll be one of those people who follow Paro around, looking over their shoulder to see if anyone's trying to push them away.
Yeah, it could be.
Knock them over. And that wasn't going to help him that much either.
Yeah. So there are certain benefits by saying everything's from Hashem. One, that you can just be a conduit. And ultimately, if something goes wrong or if something goes right, it wasn't me, it was Hashem. Right? So if, the board of your shul gets upset at you, okay, what's Hashem? But the same way around, that your successes also aren't you, only Hashem. So ultimately, that's what we want to get to the place where we're just the conduit of Hashem. And therefore, many artists and big successful businessmen, they put a lot of self-blame on themselves for things that went wrong or a project that flopped. But when a person has bitachon, one of the huge milas of being a living example of bitachon is that you ultimately just see yourself as a conduit. And like what George was saying, you don't have to take the blame for something, but that works both ways. Both your successes, right? You don't just take the successes were all me, but then when something goes wrong, that was Hashem, right? No, it's both your successes and your failures. Weren't you, just Hashem. You're just trying to be a conduit and to bring out the potential of your neshama that Hashem is giving you and wants you to express in this world. But ultimately recognizing that it's all Hashem.
Laban says to Yaakov, please stay because through you I'm getting a lot of benefit also.
Yeah.
Hashem is helping you and he's helping, and that's really doing a good job for you too.
Yeah, another amazing.
And the whole place wanted him to stay because.
Because they saw him as a conduit for Hashem's bracha. Exactly. That's another example of bitachon, just like Yosef, and also Yosef also in Potiphar's house. Potiphar saw that it was the blessings of Hashem coming through Yosef, and he wanted them there. That's why he promoted him to such a success. So ultimately, we think that we're harming ourselves. It's not true. Ultimately, it's for our benefit when we're just a conduit. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left. We'll try wrapping it up. So basically, we find that Yosef does, in a way, there's some kind of pagam in his emunah. In his bitachon, the Medrash Rabbah says because he said Zachartani v'hizkartani, because he said twice to the Sarabashkin, remember me. He was only supposed to either say one time or maybe not at all. There's different opinions in the commentaries exactly what Yosef's mistake here was, but we know that he was put 2 years in prison, right? Because he said that twice. So the Medrash Rabbah already says that Yosef was the master of bitachon. This just basically shows what a high level of bitachon Yosef was on, right? Because if he's getting 2 years of prison just from saying twice, remember me, that means he must have been on such a high level, where on his level of bitachon, that was considered a huge fall. And the Chazon Ish mentions, I'll just mention it outside, that basically he tried something that was too improbable. For this Sarah Mashkan, who is full, he calls him Rehavim, a person who is full of gaiva. So for a person who is full of himself, to ask him to remember you in prison and to put a leg out for you was pretty much, there was almost zero improbability. And Yosef, at this point, he should have recognized that and been like, okay, it's a 0% chance of him actually, a 0.0001% chance of him actually remembering Yosef. And therefore, to keep pushing him, to remember him in jail, that was not considered hishtadlus, that was considered like an act of desperation. So what the Chazon Ish is learning is that there's a difference between hishtadlus, which is something within probability that can happen, and an act of desperation, which shows that, you have no other hope, you just need to force something out. That already shows, act of desperation shows a lack of bitachon, whereas doing proper hishtadlus, which Yosef does, right? He basically tells Paro, you need to put somebody in charge of all Eretz Mitzrayim in order to take care and implement this plan. So we find that Yosef does actually make hishtadlus in the future, and he's not punished for mentioning to Paro, "Oh, you need to put somebody in command who could take care of Eretz Mitzrayim," that was Hishtadlus. It's only here where it was an act of desperation, where there was almost no probability, and he keeps pushing the Sarah Mashkin to remember him. That was already that wasn't in the category of Hishtadlus. That was in the category of desperation, and therefore he was punished.
What was he meant to do?
Yeah. So that's it. She should have just left it. Hashem will send me my Yeshua from somewhere else.
You're not supposed to rely on miracles. So I mean, you're supposed to do what you can. I mean, so it would be logical that he would approach the person who has connections that he's helped out.
Yeah. So yeah, that would have been the logical thing. And basically, this gets into.
The way you've explained it is it's not a logical thing. It's an act of desperation. There was no probability of it working, so that's not his target.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, that's the Chazon Ish's
Couldn't you say the
in
exact
Emunah Bitachon.
But the exact opposite should be true. Meaning, if you do something that's probable that's going to work, then you say it's me. But if you do an act of desperation, then it's for sure Hashem. No.
Yeah. So basically, the way it works is it's kind of a U curve, right? So if you're on the lowest level of Emunah and Bitachon, so then you need to do the highest level of Hishtadlus. But then the higher level of Emunah Bitachon you are, so then it gradually gets less and less how much Hishtadlus you need to do, except for David HaMelech, who was on the highest level of Emunah Bitachon, and then he was meant to do all his Hishtadlus, fight the battles, but every thrust of his sword, he's like, it's all Hashem. So he's supposed to do all the Hishtadlus and recognize that it's all Hashem at the same time. But basically, Yosef was on such a high level of Emunah Bitachon, so now his level of Hishtadlus was meant to drop. And he shouldn't have been doing the level of active desperations. This level of anything within the category of desperation, he should have just left. Hashem will take care of me in that situation, even if I see no other solution getting out of prison, which is an amazing level, and like we can't even assume what it would be like. So basically, if anybody needs to go, it's already 8:00. I want to respect people's time, but we'll finish off here. That the Ramchal basically looks at Hishtadlus as like a tax that a person has to pay. He has to do his duty of Hishtadlus, but anything beyond that, which is either in the category of act of desperation or really trying to push and do every little ounce of Hishtadlus, no. Better to let Hashem do it, and to live with complete Emunah Bitachon. Hashem will take care of you. Yes, we have to put in our Hishtadlus. Yes, we need to work 9 hours a day, if that's the level that we're at, and to make sure that we have some way of supporting our family. But look at that as like a tax that you're paying, as like a duty. Don't get overly involved in all the nitty-gritty details and putting every ounce of your energy. Put the majority of your energy and thought into Hashem, and just kind of go through the actions and do what you need to do on the lowest level possible. And in source number 9, we will finish off with this, which is basically that we find that how did Yosef get to this level of Emunah, and how did he express this level of Emunah? So we know in last week's Parsha, when he would go into the house of Potiphar, he would always be, the Medrash says, what's this? Vayihi Hashem es Yosef, Vayihi ish matzliach. Hashem was with Yosef, Hashem was an ish matzliach, and it says Vayar, Potiphar saw that Hashem was with Yosef, and they asked the question, what does that mean that Potiphar saw? This person was a Rasha, and how did he see that Hashem was with Yosef? So the Medrash explains that what happened was that Yosef would always be whispering things when he came into the house of Potiphar. He'd always be whispering something. And Potiphar would ask him, what are you doing? Are you like some kind of magic sorcery? Why are you bringing sorcery into a land that's full of sorcery? So what are you whispering over here, right? Are you saying something bad about me? Whenever we hear people whispering, we get self-conscious that they're talking about us. So that's what Potiphar was in this situation. And Yosef said, no. I'm asking Hashem, I'm davening to Hashem that I should be matzachein in your eyes and in the eyes of everybody that sees me, and that I should get success, and that I should be lechenu chesed urachmim beinecho v'nei kol roeh, and in the eyes of everybody that sees me. He was davening to Hashem on a consistent basis, and that, says the Sifsei Chaim, is the key to Yosef's bitachon. consistently always davening to Hashem, right? This business deal is about to go through. Hashem, please make it successful. I'm about to give the shir. Hashem, please make it successful. I'm about to sit down and learn at nighttime for a half hour. Hashem, please help me that I don't get distracted on my phone. I'm about to daven in the morning. Hashem, give me an amazing open my lips. Hashem, sefasai tiftach. Before I daven, Shmona Esrei. Any little thing that we do, you can even break down if you want to get like really crazy, right? I'm getting dressed in the morning. Hashem, help me choose the right clothes. Help me look good. It could literally be I'm about to eat. Hashem, make this food nourishing for my body and give me the energy that I need for the day. So any little thing you can break down into tefillah to Hashem, and that was Yosef's key, right? He would walk in, Hashem, 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 Hashem. Shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid was Yosef's model. Hashem is standing with me at all times. He'd always be whispering, davening to Hashem, and that's ultimately the success in life. How we reach there, Biladai, it's not me, Elokim Yaneh B'Shalom Paro, it's all Hashem, and we get there through constant tefillah in Hashem. Have an amazing day, amazing Shabbos.